so far we've talked about the properties of logarithms. We've applied the properties of logarithms. We've expanded logarithms by using the properties. So what's next? We're now going to write logarithms as a single expression, still using the properties that we know. So let's start with example 1. So example 1, we're given log base 3 of 54 plus log base 3 of 10 minus log base 3 of 20. So again, you can do this in whatever order you'd like. Like you could do these two first, or you could do these two, okay, or you could do the first and third. It doesn't matter, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work from left to right. So left to right, so I'm focusing on the log base 3 of 54 plus log base 3 of 10. So because they have the same bases, okay, that means I can use the product rule. So remember, so for example, if I had log of 5 plus log base 3 of 10, I cannot combine these. Okay, this would be as simplified as possible since they don't have the same base, right? But when they do have the same base, we have some nice properties. So log base 3 of 54 plus log base 3 of 3, when they add, I just take one single logarithm, so just log base 3, and then I combine the arguments. So this becomes 54 times 10. You can multiply these right away if you'd like, but I'm going to wait because, like looking at 540, I'm not going to want to, we're going to wait to see if anything simplifies nicely first. So what is this? This was property 4, 5. Okay. So now again, so we still have two logarithms. They both have the same base, but this time they're subtracting. So what can I do? I can use the quotient property. So again, single logarithm, and this becomes 54 times 10, and then over 20. Right, and this is property 6. So now this is why I didn't want to divide or to multiply, because 540 divided by 20, that's a lot more work. Then if you notice 10 and 20, this becomes 1 and this becomes 2. Right. So then we just get 54 divided by 2. What is 54 divided by 2? That is 27. Okay. So we have this log base 3, and I'm keeping in mind of our third property. So because I know 27 is actually a perfect cube. So how can I rewrite 27? 27 is also 3 cubed, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So now what can I do? Since I have log base 3 of 3 cubed, so actually you can do one of two things. You can immediately apply property 3, so this equals 3 by property 3, or this is also equal to 3 log base 3 of 3. Okay, so that was property 7, and then using property 2, this becomes 1, so this becomes 3 times 1 by property 2. This is equal to 3. Okay, so you can just use the third property right away, or you can just do a couple of steps, right? It doesn't, whatever, as you can see, we get the same answer either way. Okay, so so when we write this as a single logarithm, all of this becomes 3. One thing I want to know, so when we have variables, I think it's a little easier because you don't really have to worry about simplifying. But when you see numbers, I really emphasize, I was like, you have to make sure you can't simplify it anymore, because log base 3 of 27, that is not going to be correct because it's not as simplified as possible. Right? So now, let's do one more example for today because I know logarithms are tricky. So let's do example 2. Example 2, we have 2 log base 5 of A minus 1/2 log base 5 of B minus 3 log base 5 of C. Right. So again, you can just, I'm going to show you one way to do it, but if you have other ways, just email me and ask me if it's logically correct. But I'm going to, so when I see this, what I like to do, which we didn't have to do in example 1 because we didn't see it, but if I have a coefficient in front of my logarithm, that's the first thing I do, always. I always bring it to the power. So each of them have coefficients, so let's just go ahead and do that. So this becomes log base 5 of A squared. This is log base 5 of B to the 1/2. And this is log base 5 of C cubed. Right? So what you could do now is that you could just divide and then divide again. But one thing, so because there's 2 negatives here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to factor out that negative. And when I do that, I get log base 5. And then for B to the 1/2, I'm going to rewrite that because I know that's the square root of B. This becomes plus of C cubed. Right? So this is log base 5 of A squared minus, and then over here, I'm going to do the parentheses first. This becomes log base 5. And so since they have the same bases, we can combine the arguments using the multiplication property. So actually, I should put this. So this was property 7. Right? So this becomes C cubed square root of B. Okay, and this is property 5. Lastly, so I still need to combine them because they both have the same base. Right? And since there's a minus in between them, what are we going to do? We're going to divide. So we're going to keep one of the logarithms, and we're going to divide the argument. So this is C cubed square root of B. Okay. Normally, they shouldn't be that far ahead. Okay. So this is our final answer. So I can't simplify this. I can't make it there's no numbers I need to simplify, and we're already at a single logarithm. So that's how I know that we are done. So one thing I do want to talk about, like one last thing. So if you're comfortable with this method, go ahead. But some of you might be asking, like, what if you don't see that you can factor out this negative? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start from here. Okay, and let's do another way. Okay, so this is also equal. So if I look at the first two, I see that we're gonna divide still. So this becomes log base 5, and then this is A squared over the square root of B. This is minus log base 5 of C cubed. Okay, so again, we can still combine these because they have the same base, right? So in this case, this is going to be log base 5, and then this is A squared over square root of B divided by C cubed. Okay, let me add a little more space here. Okay, this cannot be our final answer. Why? Because that's a complex fraction, and what do we know about complex fractions? Can't have them. All right, we gotta combine them into a single fraction. So this is going to be log base 5, and then so since we're dividing, what do we know? This is going to be A squared over square root of B divided by C cubed. And then when we divide, what do? We can change it to multiplication. So this is times the reciprocal. Okay, and when we multiply, we just do top times top and then bottom times bottom. So this is A squared over C cubed square root of B. Right? If you put the square root of B first, just make sure it's very clear that it's just the square root of B and not like B and then C cubed. Where it's like you don't know if c cubed is a part of it, right? So that's why we're just going to put it in the front so it is as clear as can be. Okay, so this is our final answer, and as you can see, if we compare over here, they are the exact same thing. So whichever way you want to do, okay, as long as it makes logical sense, you will get the same answer. Right, so that's it for today. If you have any questions, just let me, as always, just let me know. But if not, I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.